I started in business 50 years ago, well 50 and a bit years ago. In fact, the local Chamber of Commerce gave us an award there last summer for 50 years in business. I started off in my early 20s running camping tours in Europe, and we'd pile all the stuff up on the tents, all the tents and everything up on the roof, and head off in 4 transits from here to Istanbul and back in 3 weeks. And then we did further ones. We went into Greece and Turkey, went right down the south of Turkey, went almost right down to the Mediterranean coast of Turkey, back up then through Bursa, Istanbul, right up through that then Yugoslavia. And then 1977 I got into it kind of locally here. They just introduced a new operator's certificate of competence, and I was on the first examination for that. And yeah, it grew from there. We're running about 22 vehicles at the moment. We've got a good staff. We've built up a good number of very reliable people here. We're involved with school transport first of all, and contract the bus Airden. We have a number of school contracts as well, privately for schools, bringing the children to school and home again. We have factory runs, bringing people to work. And then I suppose we do a lot of student tours, and particularly away from the summer period, we get a lot of them, European students coming in, pushing up on their English, and then we put together maybe a 3 or 4 day trip either to the north, up towards Bushmills, Giant's Causeway, Belfast, or Galway, Connemara, Cliffs and Moher, or down south, down towards Killarney, the kind of Ring of Kerry and all that kind of stuff. Been with Capital since 2017. Dave Clark was introduced to us by our accountant. There had been the great financial crash in 2008. Our previous financiers had actually gone out of business. It was difficult enough, and we were doing all right, but the vehicles were getting a little bit older, and there was time to modernise. It was our accountants that kind of said, look, we have a guy called Dave Clark for Capital Flow. Can I give him a number? I said, give him a number. He came down, he had a chat with us. He got to know us and we got to know him. And we've had a great relationship ever since. 2017 was the first one. There's the bus there. 2017 is still with us. They took an interest in us. When anyone else, you'd be ringing up and nobody could make a decision. It would take ages. I remember one particular one that was vying for business with us. I gave them an opportunity, but I'd also given it to Dave. They never came back. I don't want to mention names, but they never came back. And about 3 weeks later, they'd call me up and they said, all right, Eugene, yeah, we got that cleared for you now. You can go ahead. I said, listen, thanks, but the vehicle's actually in the yard. We have it already. So a little bit slower. Capital Flow have always been very quick to respond, and they've been very positive to us. They understand our business. We're always confident that if I give Dave a shout, that he'll look after us. We were under a bit of pressure for another vehicle. We had a number of tours had come in. We really needed another one, and it was hard to get. There was very little supply. So I came across one particular vehicle that was available, ready to go. I just rang up Dave. He said, yeah, go with it. I rang up the dealer and said, yeah, we'll buy it. The dealer said, no, you'll have to come down and look at it and take it for a test drive. No, I said, I know your vehicles. It's a new vehicle. And I said, here, there's Dave Clark's number. You ring him. End of story. And we went down and collected the next day. But that's how easy it was to deal with him. I just said, Dave, ring that man, ring Dave. I don't want to know any about it. He still wouldn't give it to me until I took it for a drive. And we did, but yeah. Well, as I say, the ease of dealing with them and the speed of a decision, you just know that it's going to work out. Our request would be reasonable and in keeping with the type of business we are and our expansion plans, and not only our expansion plans, but also to maintain a modernised fleet that we can basically send anywhere. Different vehicles for different jobs, obviously. But when we know we need something else, and we know what we want, and I know that Capital will help us out, it won't be an issue. We have achieved a great presence. We are well known in Bray and North County Wicklow, indeed all over Ireland. You know, in the olden days, as I said, we had the crash in 2008 that kind of didn't help anybody. I know, not us, but I know other operators were going back to the finance companies and throwing the keys in, you know, and running away. We were able to renegotiate some of them, but we did them all, and it was fine. But then when we needed somebody new on the scene, Capital Flow came right there. He came out and he talked to us and he understood our business and he understood our needs and he understood that we wanted to improve the profile, and we did. Biggest benefit is that we know that we have the support. We know that if we want to do something, we know that I'll ring Dave Clark and we will do it. what has made me happiest is probably the peace of mind. Peace of mind knowing that if I have a plan, I can do it. And if we got, let's say, a series of particular tours or operations that needed a new vehicle, well, I know I can give him a shout. We're adding another one to our fleet next year. I haven't put in the order yet, but I've already made the call today. Will it be all right? Of course it'll be all right, he says. Once fleet's going the way they are, why not? Why are the buses red? Well, you know, I read an article in I think it was a British magazine, just about liveries and things like that on vehicles. And they used the phrase dealership white. I always remember that, because every bus that comes out is white and somebody sticks a few stickers on it. And I said, no, we're going to have to do something about it. So I decided I want something that glared at you. I like the colour red. And of course, I used to be the station officer on the local retained fire brigade, and before we were here, we were right across the road from the fire station. So I got red into my head and we painted them red. And ever since, and we're known for being the red buses around, so quite chuffed with that. Well, of course it was tailored to my needs, because we needed in 2017, as I keep mentioning, the crash, as that faded away, there wasn't many finance companies that were interested. Yeah, Capital Flow have basically financed anyone I asked for, I think since 2017, probably about 10 vehicles.